Grip socks are great, but why pay up to $40 for a single pair when you can pay a lot less? Stop wasting money and get yours for just $14.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
As much as I love what Puma is doing in football boots in offering top quality products at prices that are significantly less than what you're gonna find from Nike and Adidas, I have to be fair and criticize them the same way I did Nike for the Phantom GT2 being way too similar to the original GT. What I have right here is Neymar's latest boot, the Puma Future Z 1.2, the replacement for the Future Z 1.1. What's the difference, you might ask? A little bit of texturing on the surface of the upper, and that's it. All for the same $200 retail price. And just like Nike's Phantom GT series, the boots are great, so there's really not much of a reason to change a lot. And like I've said, I don't know how many times on this channel already, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But does changing the bare minimum justify giving the boot a new name, or I guess in this case, a new number? I guess it's a matter of opinion, but I would argue that it isn't. Nonetheless, it's an opportunity to revisit what is ultimately a very unique pair of football boots that I'm hesitant to call underrated because obviously Neymar's wearing them and he is extremely influential, but I still feel like it's a boot that is often overlooked. So what I want to do in this video is go over all the details. I'll point out what the exact differences are from the Future Z 1.1 that they replaced, take a look at how they fit and feel on feet, and ultimately decide whether or not the Future Z 1.2 is worth your time. If you're interested in learning more, please stick around. And if you are, of course, interested in a pair of 1.2s for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and perhaps want to see some reviews of the Puma Future Z takedown models, please don't forget to support this one with a like. And also guys, we just passed 700,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support over all these years, but let's keep that momentum going. If you guys regularly watch the content and enjoy it, but aren't subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So, new future, old future, what exactly is the difference? And realistically, there's only one. If you look at the outgoing Future Z 1.1, you'll notice this ridge texturing in the form of these long lines that sweep across the forefoot, and you can see them on the back side of the Fusion Fit Plus band through the midfoot on both the lateral and medial side. But realistically, the texture in the forefoot is what you're mainly going to notice, providing a little bit of additional grip on the ball, but a minor amount if we're being realistic. On this new Future Z 1.2, you'll notice that those long ridge lines are replaced by little short lines that are about the same in terms of overall, I guess, height. It's a noticeable amount of texture and you can definitely still feel it on the ball. Does it actually make for any variation as far as performance is concerned? However, I would argue no. For the most part, this boot feels exactly like the original, and the difference in texture pattern is not one that I would say that's particularly noticeable. With that said, despite the lack of change, the Future Z 1.2 is still an excellent pair of football boots and one that offers a very unique fit and feel compared to just about everything. And the reason for that unique fit is mainly down to the upper, which utilizes a combination of both structured and elasticated knit materials. You're going to find that the forefoot area is a more structured knit with a padded liner. It's soft, it's flexible, it offers a very sock-like sensation on feet, obviously very comfortable, but isn't overly thin in regards to touch on the ball. I wouldn't say that it's bulky, but it's certainly not what I would describe as a barefoot feel. You have that same material wrapping through the heel and part of the midfoot, but for the most part, this area of the boot is a little bit more structured, backed by an internal plastic heel counter, so the material used here isn't really that relevant to the experience in regards to touch. And then running through the midfoot, you're also going to find a knitted material, but this one is elasticated. This is what they're calling their Fusion Fit Plus band. Again, no difference from the original Future Z 1.1. And this is one of those elements that I think there's a few misconceptions around, and it's not necessarily Puma's fault, it's just how people have interpreted it. It's marketed as an agility boot, but this is not a structure element. It's not there for the sake of lockdown or responsiveness. The structure is coming from the forefoot, and the heel area of the upper. But then directly through the midfoot, they actually have an unstructured element where this elasticated material wraps your foot a little bit tighter and a little bit more closely than the rest of the boot, basically adjusting to your foot, giving you that instant one-to-one wrap, which is really unusual. Normally with a pair of football boots, you have this predetermined shape, and it's kind of up to you to break in the boots and have them eventually make their way to fitting your foot as good as they possibly can. This has that kind of instant adjustability factor. And then of course, with the lacing system, they've kind of left this midfoot area kind of free of any laces. There's a little bit of tension provided by, of course, this large X pattern that you have in the lacing setup. But for the most part, this midfoot section is free to adjust exactly to the shape of your foot, whether it's a little bit narrow, normal width, or even a little bit wider. And this creates an experience and I would say a level of comfort that is very unique to the Future Z. Other noticeable features of the upper include Grip Control Pro, which is basically a slightly grippy texturing that you have on the surface of the boot. That isn't so much a texture, it's just kind of the finish of the material. That does provide some additional grip on the ball, but I wouldn't say that it's particularly sticky. Depends more on the ball rather than the boots, I would say. And then as far as the lacing system is concerned, it does run down the middle and obviously is unique in terms of how it's routed and that you really don't have any lacing positions anchored through the midfoot, which means that there's just a little bit more freedom for this area of the upper to stretch, expand, and move with your foot, which again is kind of the signature element or signature feature of the Future Z in regards to the feel and experience that they have on offer. Of course, this area across the top of the foot flows into what is kind of like a mock collar. This is definitely something I would classify as a low-cut design, where you do have this kind of side skirt made out of an elasticated knit material, extension on the back as well, internal plastic heel counter, and then the heel liner, as you can see, is a really soft synthetic suede. Not a ton of extra padding, but I think they got the shaping just right, and overall, the comfort is quite good. Then the insole, fully removable, same insole you're gonna find on the Ultras in that it has their Nano Grip technology liner, which kind of has this soft silicone texturing to it to grip your socks and prevent your foot from sliding around. Not a significant feature, but a liner that I prefer over a lot of the other options out there, especially from the bigger brands. It's just something a little bit different. Then the insole, of course, is made from a single layer of this black foam with yellow foam perforated inserts through the heel and forefoot. Moving to the base, you're going to find what Puma calls their dynamic motion system, where it's kind of a similar design concept to what you're going to find on the current Nike Mercurial series, where I wouldn't classify this as a split sole in that the forefoot and heel stud plates are connected by this spine running through the middle. That's admittedly a little bit thicker than what you'll find on the Mercs, but you can see it runs on an angle, but on either side of that, you still have an internal structure. So there's still a solid sole plate running through the midfoot all the way through. Nonetheless, it's got decent flexibility to it and overall feels nice and solid underfoot. Other than that, there's really nothing about the performance that I would say stands out. As far as the stud pattern is concerned, this is their FGAG layout as they pretty much brand all of their boots at the moment. Is this an ideal stud pattern for artificial grass? No, not really. I think the studs are still on the longer side, and you can see it's kind of this hybrid of a bladed and conical stud, and that's kind of like a half circle with a straight edge. It's kind of that happy medium between being too grippy and still giving you that freedom to twist and pivot. Overall, really solid stud pattern. I think it's definitely best suited for use on natural grass playing surfaces. But again, as a whole, is it really that much of a standout? Not really. And then when it comes to weight, the Future Z 1.2 is light, but certainly nothing that's going to blow you away. In a size 9.5 US, you can see that the boots weigh in at 7.6 ounces, the equivalent of 216 grams, which, surprise, surprise, is the same weight as the outgoing Future Z 1.1. And if you're comparing it to most other top-end models from all of the major brands, it's pretty much right in the middle of the pack. So overall, the boots are not going to feel heavy on your feet, but if you are looking for something that is exceptionally lightweight, these aren't necessarily it. So here they are on feet, where I must say, aesthetically, they haven't really changed all that much coming from the Future Z 1.1. This colorway has some red stripes that the original didn't have, but other than that, all the graphics are pretty well the same, including the giant Future branding through the midfoot that some people absolutely hate. All in all, I don't think they're bad looking boots, but maybe a more significant graphics change is warranted, especially if you're going to change the name. I also have these paired up with some red Pure Grip Socks Pro, which for those that don't know is my own brand of grip socks. This new Pro variation features an upgraded material that is super soft, super stretchy, of course features the grips along the bottom of the foot as well as the back of the heel. They're available now in a wide variety of colors for the super affordable price of just $16.99 a pair. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to visit is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. As for the fit and feel on feet, what I think is most unique about the Future Z 1.2 is that Fusion Fit Plus band through the midfoot, where it's basically an elasticated section of the upper that wraps a little bit closer to the foot than pretty much any other football boot would in this area. But because it's free of any lacing, it can actually expand exactly to the shape of your foot, and then with the more structured area of the upper through the forefoot and heel, as well as the lacing system, that's enough to really hold everything together while still giving you this custom fit through the midfoot. So like I said earlier in the video, if you're somebody that really struggles with a good fit through the midfoot, whether it's a low arch, a high arch, or you just struggle with foot cramping, I think having that stretchiness with this Fusion Fit Plus band on the Future Z is just going to be extremely comfortable for you. And as a whole, these are very comfortable football boots out of the box. I would say one of the more comfortable options out there, certainly if you're looking for something that has a knitted upper. As far as width is concerned, these are extremely adjustable because of that Fusion Fit Plus band. So it's one of those boots that'll fit wide feet, it'll fit narrower foot types. It's really going to work with pretty much any foot type period, which is great to see. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US and have a little bit of additional space that I wouldn't normally have in this size. The Future Z 1.2, just like the 1.1 it replaces, runs about a quarter size long. So whether or not you should go down half a size or maintain true to size is something that you kind of have to decide for yourself. If you're already wearing your boots with a little bit of extra space, maybe going a half size down is the way to go. But if you're currently wearing your boots like myself, where they fit nice and snug, I would personally recommend just sticking true to size and living with that little bit of extra length. But again, because everyone's foot is a slightly different shape and a slightly different length, those quarter size long that these run might actually work out perfect for you. But I think for most people, sticking with your normal size is probably the way to go. So in conclusion, the new Future Z 1.2 isn't really a new model, but it's still a great pair of football boots. And in terms of what it has going for it, it's very unique and certainly stands out in comparison to pretty much any of the alternatives. Whether you want to classify this as a control or an agility boot, compared to the Phantom GT2, I think this is much more comfortable, and compared to the Adidas Predator series, it's just completely different because it doesn't have rubber spikes all over it. For me, this is a football boot for somebody that really prioritizes comfort and really likes a knitted upper that has that little bit of padding to it. It's not super thin, it's not going to provide that barefoot feel, unlike so many other options out there. And in general, if you're really somebody that struggles with getting football boots that fit your feet well, I think that there are some definite benefits to this Fusion Fit Plus band through the midfoot and this boot's ability to pretty much mold itself instantaneously to to just about any foot type. I can't agree with Puma calling this a new model, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is still an excellent pair of football boots, and for the $200 retail price, it's a lot less expensive than pretty much any of the other high-end alternatives from Nike and Adidas. Anyways guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.